Today's conversation is with a rapper, a poet, a protein biologist, scientist. This man is all of these and still a ghost. We were lucky enough to bring Sumuk Mysore, aka Smokey the Ghost, on this podcast. He talks about the Orkut rap battles, English rap scene here in India, the MC Code situation, psychotic anarchism, Israel Palestine, gender neutral terms, and a lot more. But because of the length of the conversation, we had to cut it into two parts. This one is where we talk about Orkut rap battles, what is psychotic anarchism, who is Smokey and how it is different from Smokey the Ghost, how Smokey died and all of that. Okay, so Smokey the Ghost, what should I call you first?
Anything you want. Smokey the Ghost is what I'm generally known by, and you can call me Smokey if you want.
Yeah, Smokey sounds fine. By the way, I know you're a big name in the rap scene, but let's start with your introduction. About you telling us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a rapper from the Indian hip hop scene, and I've been here for almost 18 years. I'm not big, but I've been here a long time, enough to grow white hair.
Yeah, that is big actually.
And mostly I've rapped because I like rapping, because it's therapy. And for me, it's helped me sort of like speak about my side of struggles. And when I say struggles, it's not something as generic as like I live on the streets or something. It's not like that. But it's I believe that struggle is it's a gradient. It's not something that is like a linear, that it's only one thing. So I faced certain kinds of struggles which I talk about in my rap music, and it's helped me sort of understand it. And rap has taught me different things to a point where like it's also entered into my studies, and how I think, and whether I'm critical of my shit, things like that. And that has sort of led me to like also be a scientist at one point of time in my life. I worked as a protein biologist, worked with microorganisms. I did a bunch of shit.
Yeah, you have done a lot, man.
Yeah.
I think
I basically had fun. I had fun. Like I just wanted to do something interesting. And I always had a curious mind and a very, I believe, a very very offline thinking, if I may say, and everybody always told me that since I was a kid. So both of those mix very well. Whether it's science or rap, you need that. Right. So I come from that sort of a background. I do a bunch of other things as well. I have a startup. I make medical devices. It's called Music Diagnostic. Just having fun mixing and mashing things. Put that here, put this there.
Yes, if you have touched everything that a man can do, I think you've covered everything.
Not really. I wish I did.
Is there anything that's left on your list, sort of thing? Did you still want to do or pursue?
Yeah, I wanted to really cook and bake.
Okay.
Well, and that being somebody who is in the lab, that should be something that is absolutely easy, but it's not so easy when you get into the kitchen. It's quite a nervous situation.
Yes.
And I see a lot of my peers. I'm somebody who loves food, so I see a lot of my peers cooking really well, and I want to sort of get into that. So that's my next thing. I want to get into cooking.
Getting into cooking.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are a rapper first, right? And then all of these things. Is that how you see it?
Not really. Like, I think that it's all a mix. I think that rap is very fundamental to me, and science is very interpretive to me. So when I reach the interpretive part of my brain, I'm very scientific.
Okay.
When I reach a very critical part of my brain, I'm very rapper. If you know what I mean, and they all intersect at some point in time. And I don't think that, like, I used to have these kind of labels where I thought I was this and I was that, but that sort of fell.
Yeah. Also, I think labels sort of limit you in some sense.
They limit you. But when I was very young, somebody told me that labels sort of like limit you from like goals. And goals, there are two types of goals. Somebody said there are relative goals and absolute goals. Relative goals are goals which, like for example, you want to be the greatest rapper in India. That's a relative goal.
Okay.
To be the greatest rapper that has ever been, that's an absolute goal.
Okay, got it.
And I always wanted to sort of take the absolute goal because you're never going to reach it. And that's very interesting to me because you're going to keep going up,
Got it,
the
yes.
relative goal. You're going to hit the relative goal and there's no more of a growth because you hit it. You became the best rapper in India and now you don't know how you should proceed next, right? So for me the absolute goal setting was taking the shortcut.
Also, I think if you have relative goals, as you've described, you keep on adding them because once you're the best rapper in India, the next relative goal will be to be the best in Asia, let's say, and then it keeps on going.
Yeah, provided you have that appetite, because if you fought really hard to be the best Indian rapper and you got tired, that happens a lot. So you got tired. You blitzed out your brain into thinking that is a wall and you got to break this wall to get there. You know what I mean? Like in your brain, talking very psychologically, and I have special interest in psychology as well. I just keep like reading a lot of stuff about understanding things there and everything else. And I think that absolute goal sort of you never reach. So there is no question of you stopping. It depends. Do you want to do this shit to just stop, or do you want to do this shit to,
Yeah, depends. Yeah, right.
Am I audible? Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. So, like about that you get tired while becoming the best rapper in India. Like, so like there's risk in like taking that fight because like let's take an example of like wolves. I heard this somewhere. I don't remember, but if a wolf fights a wolf for like being the alpha, even the winner can like risk being so badly injured that somebody else can come there and like, you know what I mean? Like,
No, honestly, like this is not a real thing, but it's all in our heads. Like we've been taught that success is being at the top. Like, what if you wanted to be like the 5th best rapper in India? It's absolutely fine, Like, but we've been taught that you have to be the top, which I think is wrong because music is very subjective. Like that, the success itself is very subjective. Like, I've spent like almost 10 years with no recognition, and I thought I was a really bad rapper, and all of those things. And until the day I realized that no, like it's not like that. Like, this is giving you something else. Like, for example, the journey, the persistence with it, your control over the English language. If I'm an English rapper, like there were other perks that the game gives you. I think somebody in hip hop said this. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
So you said English rapper. How tough it is to be an English rapper in India, because rapping is something that a lot of people relate to, but then in India, I think a lot of people will relate to the Hindi rap scene. So how exactly is the English thing?
Yeah. I mean, that's a very tricky question because a lot of people do English rap badly and a lot of people do English rap well, and both of them don't get recognition. This is predominantly because I think that when you look at mass audiences, and that's again I'm coming back to psychology. Mass audiences react differently than like a niche or an individual audience, right? So mass audience in India is definitely more Hindi oriented, and you can see that with things like Bollywood and things like that. But you have niche zones like, let's say, Tollywood or Collywood, right?
Right.
So Kannada industry is something else. So right now it's very language dominant. And I can see that English is going to take a lot more time before it sort of takes its place. However, what I find very interesting is that an English rapper who's good at what he does can go to a Hindi rapper who's good at what he does and make a collaboration happen. That's a very interesting part of music, right? Like, and you
Right.
can sort of boost each other's audience and spread that message a little more nicely, So
Right.
I feel like there are workarounds, but it's going to take time. English rap is something that is very infant. It started off with English rap, let's not forget that. And definitely English rap is something that is going to bridge the scene between India and
The West.
another country in the future. Yeah, of course, the West. I mean, even your African countries, people listen to all kinds of stuff, and unfortunately or fortunately, the American music scene is very dominant all over the world.
Right. Yes.
So it is what it is. Yeah. But I think that English rap has perspective in the future if you're here for the long-term game, and if you've read Chris Anderson's long tail game. That's a very interesting book to read if for those who are listening to this,
Okay, sure. We'll try and link that too.
What is that book? Like, what is it about?
Yeah. So the book is about hits, and he analyzes how hits are different from songs that are long lasting. Like, I would say like something like Outcast is very long lasting. Like, if I hear it today, I would still bump it. Anyone would bump it. It's still like is on TikTok. You see that Busta Rhymes song that is blowing up right now, like that's long lasting. Although it may not have been a hit when it got released, and you see that a lot with Kanye West and things like that. But although it's not a hit when it released, it would the tail of that is the same size as the hit itself. If you see the graph,
Oh, okay.
right? If you can imagine the graph, like you can see that hits are to a certain size, but the years are also to a certain size. But if you measure the area under the curve, they both are the same. So that's what is the long tail game, where you wait it out and you predict that it's going to blow up then. Very interestingly, and I really wanted to mention this, like one of my influences, and most of my influences play the long tail game. So like there is a Persian poet called Omar Khayyam. He blew up 100 years after he started doing his thing. So he died, and like about years later, there was a war. And in the war, people were in distress. And all of his poems are just about life and death. And wine. So he did not get that much prominence during his lifetime, but after that, suddenly during distress times, everybody just wanted wine, and like it's like lockdown.
Yes.
Everybody wanted wine and death and life, and this became more relevant than ever. So you have everybody. You look at like MF Doom, Mac Miller, Yasin Bey. I can keep naming my influences who are all playing the long tail game. So I was very attracted to that kind of like a setting. That's what Smokey the Ghost means. The ghost is somebody who's, hidden.
Okay.
And that's something that we lost with social media, right? Like anonymity is no more a thing. Like identity is so closely associated with your social media Facebook page. You can't impersonate. They call it impersonation now, So
I think like the only artist that has like he was still anonymous is like The Weeknd. Like you don't know like what he is like. That's the only artist I know, and that's a part of his appeal.
Or the drummer of Coldplay. Or the drummer of Coldplay. I was saying nobody knows.
And I read
somebody knows who he is.
Yeah, but like everything is not out there on social media and stuff. Like Weeknd doesn't do.
True, but that's not what I mean.
Achha.
I know when The Weeknd was born. I know Weeknd as an identity.
Yeah, you know who Weeknd is.
What the Yeah, I know who Weeknd is. Do you know who the Zodiac Killer was? Did you know like
I'm like a
you don't
crime freak, so I do like.
What do you say?
I'm like a crime freak. So I think I saw this.
You know who he is?
Yeah, I know Zodiac Killer. Yeah, he left these codes, ciphers, right?
Yeah, Zodiac. But do you know who he really is?
No, not like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there are certain when I started off, we started off on Orkut. All right.
Okay.
And in Orkut, the hip hop communities in India started there. So that we all don't fight, we created a character. Like, a few of us created a character called Hopesh Huttubala. All right.
Okay.
It's not a real character. He doesn't exist in real life. Okay. But we created this character so that people don't fight each other and they fight this guy.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I find that anonymity is very interesting. Like, look at MF Doom. There is very less information about him, but it is so unsure. It's so eerie. Like, he died on Halloween, and everything was really revealed later. He drops things in his rhymes which nobody's heard about, like a tattoo that he saw. I mean, graffiti that he saw on the New York highway and things like that, right? Like, so I find that very interesting. Like, the hidden treasure, dig for that, find that information. Again, that's my scientist side talking, right? Like, in rap, that also exists, which is very interesting for me.
So I think you mentioned Orkut. In Orkut, there used to be text battles and all of that, right? In those times.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't have like a personal computer at home, right? So it was 2004 or around that time, and Orkut was like, we would go over there and you just type in what you find most interesting, which is you just type in rap, and you find like this community called Rapper Scrapper, Battle Skelter, and things like that. And these communities would have people from Pakistan, people from India, everywhere. And it was a brotherhood. Nobody cared whether you were from Pakistan or India. No one gave a shit. Everyone was there for rap. And I found that really cool because we would talk about that shit. No one would trash anyone about whether where he was from or what he was doing or anything like that. We were just talking about bars. And we didn't have personal computers, so we would like go to cyber centers and stuff. We would save 10 rupees, that my mom would give me for buying cookies or whatever, right? Like chocolates. I would just save that up, hit the cyber center. You have 1 hour and you think about the whole day, you think about like rhymes and punchlines and all these things. And especially for that battle. So how the battle works is that basically you sign in, you say check in, you type that. As soon as the battle is assigned to you, and whoever checks in first gets to spit first. Okay. And the other person, spit as in text, right? The other person has to text second. So you would think about bars the whole day. It would be 5 bars. They would stipulate it. And you would come back in 1 hour. You had to, write the whole thing as fast as possible and get out of the cyber cafe because you only had $10.
Yeah, that is the thing you had to write.
So text battles were a thing, and text battles were a thing because we had like Raftar there, we had Emiway there, we had Honey Singh was there at some point in time.
Oh, okay.
Everyone who's major in the scene, everyone who's major in the scene has been on Orkut at some point in time.
That's crazy.
I actually I made a song on Dheeraj's beat called ORKUT.
Oh yeah, Dheeraj. Nice.
That's what it was about. Yeah.
By the way, I have a question for you, and that is Smokey different from Smokey the Ghost?
Yeah. Smokey is very different from Smokey the Ghost. Smokey died.
Okay.
And it was a very brutal death. And it was a reformation of character. Smokey was a very misogynistic rapper. He was a very bars kind of rapper. And the style of how he rapped was very imitation of the West. It was sort of copying certain words, were like the accenting and certain ideologies were very West-oriented ideologies. Like he would talk about guns and things like that. But Smokey the Ghost is an after form and after realization of all of those things. So you look back and you reform your what you are as a person as you grow up, right? and
Resurrection.
Smokey the Ghost is that formed image. Yeah, and with let's say a software update has happened. He's no more a misogynistic guy. He suddenly raps and sings and does all these things, and he's more socially conscious, you know. And there's more conceptual approach than a bars approach to what I do, you know.
Okay.
Bro, so I have this question, right? Yesterday, there's this podcast called Unquantized, and
Okay.
the hosts are the Sound Oracle and Triza. They're like music producers, and Sound Oracle made drum kits for Timbaland.
Oh wow.
You see, yeah. So, and like he has produced for Lil Wayne, Gucci Mane, Justin Bieber. Like
Wow.
both of them are like crazy people, and like his podcast is mainly on Instagram Live, right? So I was asking him this question, like, is like being socially conscious, like giving rap like a certain disadvantage when it comes to like pop or EDM, where they have like where like the pop or EDM genres make more make music that is digestible by a larger audience. Like the roots of rap have always been like socially and culturally conscious substance.
Yeah.
So you think
Yeah,
like that?
so,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I think that that's a very trick question, because you look at rap. Rap started with struggle.
Yeah,
I
true.
believe that rap started, especially if you could pinpoint it historically. Rap started from a point where the white man didn't allow access to certain musical instruments, so the black man had to use his mouth. That was something that couldn't be taken away from him, right? And that started off as a movement that sort of expressed their struggles. Now, I could flip this question and I could say, what if you did not have kick drums? Would the EDM producers be able to make EDM? Would that put you in a disadvantage against rap? Right?
I don't.
It would. It would, right? Like, because you don't have kick drums anymore and you only have snares, right? Like, but rap can exist without kick drums. It can exist in free space, right?
Okay.
So from that perspective, I don't think that everything is socially conscious. There's nothing that is not socially conscious. Everything is political. There's nothing that is not political. It might be in an indirect way, like it might be like 3 steps away or 4 steps away, but it will eventually boil down to that. Like, so if you take like Eminem, the biggest rapper in the world, I think every song is about struggle. You talk about Lil Wayne, even if he's talking about something like party, right? Like he's rapping on an EDM song and he's partying, right? It's still some form of struggle, and you know, like, I'm enjoying this, but I never used to enjoy this before, and here I am, right? Like these are the concepts that he will talk about. Gucci gang. Dude really wants to be in Gucci gang. That's a struggle, right? Like, so so if you think about it, like, all of it comes from that perspective. While I'm a big fan of EDM, I think that the fact that a rapper can rap on EDM makes a rap a more dissolvable kind of genre. It's never gonna die, according to me, as compared to anything else. And I don't see the I really don't see the segregation between like conscious rap, social rap. Like, I don't see the segregations. They're all the same thing, but people like to sort of put genres on it to classify them in some way, you know. So the whole concept of genre is pretty much a sham, you know, if you think about it.
Yeah, like even like with the Grammys and stuff, it's like, bro, pop.
Grammys are a sham.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's a sham, but still, like, they want to give out awards to certain people where rap deserves it. Like some of these albums that, like, they are the pop records of this time. Like, they're not hip hop records; they are the pop records. Like, but
yeah, but what is pop? Pop is popular music, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's
again,
that.
I would like to like sort of
Even if you-
reiterate that whole success line. You know, that what I was talking about success.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at like J Dilla, and J Dilla, mind you, is somewhere also influenced EDM, right?
Okay.
That especially with that swing.
Can you explain
and talking
who
about
he
that
is?
swing timing.
Can you explain who he is for
I mean,
the audience?
J Dilla is. It's very tough to explain what J Dilla is because he's literally like beat god. J Dilla is someone who formed the ideology for like all of the rap that we see today, according to me. Especially the roots, especially all your Detroit sounds, all of your new New York sounds, Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest, the very foundation of hip hop, right, was from J Dilla. And J Dilla himself never blew up. He was always in his bedroom. He made music and he died. So he
but like
basically
most
his
of my
style lived on
most
for
of
so
my
long.
most of my favorite producers, like they grew up listening to like J Dilla beat tapes, like Arab music, Swiss beats.
Everybody.
These guys are like
Everybody.
so. For
If
those of the
you didn't
listeners,
listen growing up to if you didn't grow up listening to J Dilla, the person who you are listening to, he grew up listening to J Dilla.
yeah, exactly,
right?
Yeah. So like the
Yeah.
people who don't know who
So-
J Dilla is, so he
I
was a
don't think there's
producer.
anybody like that.
No. Mayank does not know
Anybody
J
like
Dilla
that?
is. No, J Dilla. No, bro. Like most of the people, like it's the music community who knows J Dilla is, and I don't think like even the
Right.
Indian music community knows who J Dilla is. So just for the audience, I'd like to explain.
Right.
So J Dilla.
Right.
So
So
there's
success.
this.
Like how would you define success? So would you want to be J Dilla, or would you want to be Hardwell? Today, no one cares about that Hardwell song. It's over, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's old, you know. But J Dilla, and this is a shot at Hardwell. J Dilla stays fresh forever. Okay, I will every day bump J Dilla. Today we have lo-fi music. Lo-fi
Yeah.
music is J Dilla, basically.
So like, let me explain like to the people who don't know who J Dilla is. Like there are many people, Smokey. Like, so to the listeners, J Dilla is a music producer who invented the concept of swing, where everything doesn't hit on beat. So it was very unquantized. For those of you who don't know what unquantized is, please just Google what unquantized is. And his sonics were very.
Google J Dilla.
There's this short video on Vox. Vox is this amazing media production house. I love Vox.
Yeah.
VOX, right?
Yeah, VOX. So look up Vox J Dilla. You'll understand him in like 10 minutes. Yeah, and so to your question, Smokey, like so this is a personal choice. I get this a lot in the like music community. I get a lot of hate in the music community. Like Hardwell is a different.
Why so?
So yeah, let me complete. So like Hardwell is a different comparison. I would want to be Hardwell. If you say Hardwell or J Dilla, I'll select J Dilla. But if you say Hit Boy or J Dilla, I will say Hit Boy.
What?
Yeah, bro.
What?
Like, yeah.
Okay, so for people like
Come
me,
from-
please draw some comparisons now.
So have you heard the song called N-Words in Paris by Kanye West and
Yeah.
so the
Yeah,
producer
yeah.
of that song, he just won awards for like the producer of the decade. It's like
No, why would you choose him over JD?
I'm a product guy myself.
Yeah, that
like,
is pretty good. Yeah,
it's a personal opinion, and I know this. There needs to be balance between
you can-
people like. So there needs to be
Yeah.
balance between people like me and people who like worship the craft. Like people who worship the craft. If they don't exist, I won't
Yeah.
have the content that I need to for making better products. Like so, that's what I think. Like
Yeah. But I think like if you compare projects, I would agree with you. Like I'm a big fan of Watch the Throne myself, right? I would agree with you. But like if you're comparing catalogs or careers, right? for me, that's crazy. Imagine you being Hit Boy is famous, right? Today, like he has a lot of people like doing his thing and using his beats and all of those
Nipsey
things.
Hussle, like
But
his
J
whole
Dilla,
project.
J Dilla never had that shit, and he continued doing his shit. For me, that's inspiring. You know what I mean? Like, so coming back to this whole thing about success, right? For me, success is that where today, even today, I will remember J Dilla, right? Like, if J Dilla has passed a long time ago. Even today, you are like we are talking about swing, and we're talking about J Dilla, and we're talking about his influence, and for me, that is real success. So that's what I wanted. I think that's where we started off. So
legacy, talking about the legacy and the
yeah, man,
impact on the culture.
That's
and
what we're
music.
actually in this for.
Yeah,
that's what we're actually in.
True.
I mean, not looking at the materialistic value of it, because success usually is interpreted as a lot of people following you and fans being everywhere, all around you. These are farces. These don't really exist. Like, today they might like you, today they might put you on the top pedestal, but like 10 years down the line, you could be a nobody. And that we were, as I was in a crew called Machas with Attitude, we were on top of that shit. Today there are like 100 other rappers, and it's fine. It's fun to watch these guys, reach their place. But you won't get to this place of having this fun if you cannot appreciate the journey,
Right.
And if you don't have the satisfaction of the journey, like even that success will be meaningless to you,
So, bro,
that
like,
sounded very spiritual. I'm not spiritual at all.
like my impact, that how I see it, I want more economical impact. Like, I care about economical impact more than artistic impact. Like, so when I heard N-words in Paris, so like that song like empowered me to think like a middle class kid from Chicago and someone like who grew up in Harlem can go to Paris and like get an office next to Givenchy's head designer, and like like Kanye West pitched
so
his.
Tell me something.
Yeah.
So tell me something. Like let's imagine that J Dilla, for all of the shit that he did, patented his swing thing. Right? He patented it. And imagine the economic impact of that shit.
Yeah, bro. So there are certain methods.
So in Paris.
So this is like where I like socialist ideology that I don't agree with. So I think I have to fill my cup first, so that I can fill other people who are less fortunate than me. Right? There are like I see people.
I mean, you live in a capitalistic world, right? You live in a capitalistic world. Like, of course you're going to think like that. If you lived in a communist world, just imagining this, right? Like just a thought experiment. Then you wouldn't think so much about money. And that's what we're talking about, right? Like, so it really depends on like how you look at it. Like, for example, the polio vaccine. I'm going to switch to science, right? If the polio vaccine was not made open source, right? We would still have polio in the world today at large. The inventor of that said, I'm not going to apply the patent for this. Right? That's kind of what I see J Dilla doing, right? Like, I think this is for the greater good of humanity, bro. Take it. So that paved the way for a lot of people to get that economic impact. Like, a lot of artists use that
that's true.
songs to make dope songs to deliver. So
like even house music is even house music has so much swing. Like, I make EDM and house music, right? I like every tutorial, the kind of house music that I'm making, every tutorial like add swing, like.
Yeah, it just makes it more human, which is very cool. Like,
I think that is
like yeah. Go ahead.
I'm saying that is what you said is, I think, very much important, that you should have both the perspectives to run the world. For example, you should also have people like Dheeraj who are talking about, let's say, the capitalist thing, that you need to fill your cup first and then other people. But then you also need people who will do the exact opposite. You need a mix of both of them.
What I believe is that it's not that you should have both of them, but I think that one person should have both of them. That's what I think. I think extremism is danger. You know,
Exactly,
you should
exactly.
be
Yeah.
able to strike a
Extremism of any
balance
form,
and
yeah.
see the other side.
Mhm.
Yeah, you should be able to see the balance and be able to say, okay,
Exactly.
what if I'm wrong? And this is something that is actually ruining the world today. Like you can talk about any conflict, religious beliefs, anything like that, right? Like
Mhm.
when you believe in something, like you believe in particular religion, it's fine, right? Like there's no issues. But if you
Mhm.
say that what you believe in is wrong, that is dangerous. That's extremism, right? So I think if you I think I really resonate with the fact that at the edges everything is fucked up, you know. I
that's
resonate with
actually
that ideology, and
that is true.
I think I think that you can maintain a balance of, even if you go to that extreme, and people are usually a spectrum. Nobody is like centrist, leftist, rightist. This really doesn't exist. But people are in a spectrum of one side, I would say, and they should be able to see what's happening on the other side as well.
Right.
You know. So I think I am very psychotic anarchist, and this is mostly a very scary concept to a lot of people, because they look at anarchism as a very dangerous thing. But if you really read about anarchy, and I would recommend another book at this moment by Noam Chomsky called Anarchy, you will understand that anarchy by itself is chaos. That's very fundamentally looking at it. And chaos is the only truth. Chaos is how we existed always, and the way we are meant to exist biologically is in chaos. And when I say chaos, I don't mean that everything is falling down and there's destruction, you going into the stores and breaking everything. It's not that. Chaos is when you don't have a government ruling you, but yet you choose to come to an agreement together.
So will lawlessness be the right word?
It is lawless, but it is a law that we mentally agree to.
Okay.
Like killing someone is wrong. Right? We all agree. Like for example, in this podcast, we all agree that killing somebody is wrong. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That's great. So we are already in anarchy in many ways, right? Like we've agreed. Even if the world changes tomorrow and the rules, there is a law that you can kill people. Within this podcast, we are like, we're not going to kill anybody, right? So that is an anarchy, and anarchy has always existed as pockets, right? Like it's never been so big, and that is the eventual goal that everybody wants to get to, right? Like everybody wants to be in a position where there are no borders, that you're able to freely travel to any place that you want to and live in peace and live in harmony. All of these things. This is an ideal thing, which is why I called it psychotic. So I would be very anarchist, feminist. I would be very anarchist, psychotic, because it's very ideal.
But
Bro, so I think like we as a humanity, like we have got here, and this is why I think like religion is very important, because there is a need for complex cooperation and complex competition, and things like anarchy, it's hyper competitive, and things like socialism is hyper cooperation. So like in everything, like, so the drive for innovation goes down in like a socialistic or a communist society, and in anarchy, like that's why I feel like I haven't taken a political science class since like 12-13 years.
You're right. You're right when you're talking about this from a very Western definition of it. But again, I would really recommend that you read the book by Noam Chomsky.
So you don't think
predominant?
You don't think like complex cooperation, and complex, that's what gave us the edge over like dinosaurs and fucking lions and stuff?
It did not.
So what do you think
No, it did
gave
not.
us that edge?
It was natural selection. We have a word for it.
But okay,
It's called natural selection, right?
Yeah, so going by
To live,
yeah,
like you need rice today to live. Okay. We all agree that we need rice. Okay, somebody also we all agree that maybe 2% of our population needs chicken. Right? So what are we going to do to facilitate that? Now, that is a way of looking at it from that angle. Now, of course, like as much as I like to say, like when you bring the materialistic conversation into this, as much as I would like to say, okay, I want to go deal away with money, I don't really have an answer to say, let's replace money with something. I don't know what that something is, right? So I don't really have an answer to replace capitalism today. That's the struggle, right? That's what we're trying to fight. Now, very interestingly, like you look at like Star Trek. I'm so nerdy. You look at like Star Trek, right? In Star Trek, they've eliminated money, right? And they have dedicated their life to space travel. It's such an idealistic and ridiculous idea, right? But essentially, I think everybody wants to get there, right? Everybody wants to get to a point where they're fully sustained, right?
But bro, do they want it bad enough? But do they want it bad enough?
Yes, everybody does.
But do they want it like bad enough?
Does.
Because if you say if I come up with a solution that is sustainable and it will increase my probability of a comfortable survival, there is a motivation for me.
Where are you coming from? Are you asking the person in this question? Are you asking this person this question from a capitalistic world as the background, as the 0 point, if I may say, or are you asking him this question from, like, let's say, absolute zero, Stone Ages?
Yeah, but so even for Stone Ages,
the
right?
Human had the choice.
Even for Stone Ages, like the humans said that I want to survive for a longer time, and like
I just want to survive. That's what he said.
Yeah. No.
There was a good chance.
Like finding berries and fruits it was not possible in every environment, right? And that's how they came up with like meat. That's how they came up with meat consumption.
Correct.
Okay, like so So he like the humans could have said ki, okay, there are no fruits around, I'll just die here. But no, he said, like the human said, I keep saying he, like, what the fuck is wrong? So like the human said, the human said, I want to live longer, even if so I will get the hunt, but the brain that is the tastiest part to that human, that brain comes to me. So there is that there is that motivation ki, acha, if I get this hunt, the brain will belong to me. So that's why like everybody's trying their hardest to get that hunt and like make their and do good for the entire community. But good.
Right. I think that's a very, very, very surface level approach at it. I'm sorry, but I think that the reason for that is because like the way that sentence itself is being formed is that you're saying that I want to get something superior to this, right? Like I want to be the one who lives, right? And that's agreeable. Like it's actually there in evolution. It's called survival of the fittest, right? What I'm talking about is how when you talk about like how he survived over the dinosaur and all of that, it happened by natural selection, right?
But what happened, like we were like naturally selected?
So let me explain what natural selection is, because I think that understanding
I have no idea what
natural selection is. Natural selection means, so like let's say there is a fish and there is food that is stuck somewhere in between two rocks and the fish cannot reach that food. All right. So the fish goes there and it keeps trying, and over generations the front part of the fish becomes long and like a snout,
Okay.
right? And now it's able to reach through there and grab that food. Okay, there is no the fish needs the food, but the fish is not thinking, should I break these rocks and cause havoc and go in there, get my food? It's not thinking like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, so natural selection is a whole different process that works based on who's going to evolve. So I believe
who gets
that
to
the
breed?
human
So
Who
the
gets to breed?
advantageous traits.
no, not even breed. Not
So,
even breed. Like, I'm not
we
even
had-
going there. I'm
we
saying
had
that the
this-
brain of the human evolved, right?
We had this. Complete.
So the
sorry.
brain, yeah, what?
So okay. So
No,
we.
I was just saying that the
Okay. Please
Okay,
stop. Smokey.
we'll
you
restart.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Smokey. You said no. You talk, please.
Yeah, so I was just saying that the human brain evolved. So you would see like Neanderthals, you will see like different like evolutions of the human, right? So the human got to a point where he was at the most stability, right? And it's got to a point now where the human itself is breaking the food chain. Like, he is disrupting other organisms to like take care of himself, which is pretty selfish, which is pretty fucked up, right? But that is the primary truth of that situation, right? So the point here being that the human by himself is very like, if you want to like hail for those kind of ideologies like selfishness, and you want to hail to those ideologies as humanity, I have to survive, so I'm doing this, right? That is the problem, isn't it? That we were supposed to be extinct years ago, right?
And we did. So, but isn't
We
this
didn't.
our duty to survive? Like, I believe in like creator.
No,
I don't
nobody
know
said that.
what you don't think. I think it's
okay,
my
yeah, sure.
duty. I think it's my duty to like take care of my body and like survive by any means possible.
Who set that rule?
But it's just my personal opinion.
I have
Like,
never.
no, it's just my opinion. Like,
No, I think it's a very primal feeling, right? Like, I have to survive, bro. You know, like, it's a very primal feeling. Like, we all have it. Nobody wants to die.
I just think that.
But
So this is gonna sound very fucked up, but I think as humans we have something that other animals don't.
no, you don't. Do you have the nictitating membrane?
What is that, bro? I'm very.
So when you swim in the water, when you open your eyes, that shit burns. But there are fishes who have the nictitating membrane where they can open their eyes and swim in the water. You don't have everything. You can't survive in
No,
the depths
I said-
of the ocean.
I said I have something more
You live outside
than the
of
animals.
land.
I didn't say like I have everything.
Yeah,
Like,
but
You don't.
I said
That's what
we
I'm
have built things that.
You don't have that.
But no, we can, build things
You
that
don't
can.
have everything.
yeah, I'm not saying everything, but I think like this creator or like whatever you want, whatever like you want to, whatever like religious theology you want to subscribe to. But I think like whoever created this gave us something special, like that the other animals don't. I'm not saying I have everything, but yes. And to your point, like we are disrupting other like other ecosystems. So as a human, I think we need to. So again, like the selfishness point, we need to think: can this backfire on us? Our instinct to survive,
It is.
like, can it backfire on us? That's the real question. Like, I don't think.
It is already.
Acha.
Isn't it already? Like already, like by you disrupting the food chain, you don't have chicken to eat anymore, right? Water is going down, right? Ice is melting in the poles, and like water levels are rising. Climate change is a real thing. Like,
So
I don't think it's even arguable anymore.
So if you if
Does
there
the
was
creator want you to go through all of that, right? Right? That's an interesting question, right? Like because. Because
so what
I
are you
feel
saying?
like
There's no creator, like
the creator. I mean, personal opinion wise, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in anything that existed. I believe in science, And this is again an endless debate between religion and science.
Right.
But I am absolutely like for somebody following a religion for his own calmness, and if it helps him, okay, right? Like as long as you don't tell me that this is the truth.
True.
And
Exactly.
that is something that has existed. That is that selfishness that you're talking about, right? That is what has messed things up. That I feel that is the problem. Although it is very primal to us, although even I feel like that, like if somebody's coming to my home trying to kill me, I'm not gonna be like selfless and say, okay, you kill me, bro, you survive, right? It's not gonna happen. But the ultimate truth of this whole situation is that, bro, we're all going to die, right? Like this you are gonna get there, right? At some point or time.
True.
However, because of evolution, and getting back to that discussion a little bit, right? Like because of evolution, we achieved a stable state where we became a superior organism. Okay, that I will give it. Like we became a superior organism, but I don't think that is something that was entitled to us or given to us or created for us. It could have been very easily the dolphins.
Okay.
I don't know if you have read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's a very
I've
interesting
heard. Yeah, I've heard.
The aliens finally come down to Earth, and they're like, where are the whales? You guys didn't save the whales. We're gonna kill all of you.
Okay.
Right? And now they have to go and they somehow find a whale, and they get the whale to negotiate with the alien. You know what I mean? Right? Like again, the question of the creator is so debatable at the moment, and we're just making assumptions. But the ultimate truth is that we are messing up the environment. It's going to have consequences on our kids. It's going to have consequences on everything that we're doing, irrespective of your religious beliefs. We are going to have those consequences, and we have to do something to solve that,
Right.
True.
Okay, so I have been listening for a while, and now I have some questions which I'm going to throw up. So first is, Smokey, going by what you said anarchy is, don't you think that's a utopian concept sort of thing? Because in some way you want everyone in the world to...
Dystopia.
It is, right?
It's utopia and dystopia. It's on both ends.
It's not utopia, bro.
Go on. Please go on.
No, because I'm saying
utopia to some people. I'm living happily in anarchy.
Sorry. Mayank, please.
But anyway, please go on. Please.
Yeah, so I'm saying because in a way you want a mental agreement from everyone that's living in this world, right? Which is a very idealistic situation, and I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
Yeah, no, it happened, but it happened in pockets. It happened in niches. So if you look up like anarchy, you will find that in some parts of Ukraine it exists. It exists in some Mexican
Myanmar,
places, right? It exists in certain pockets, and people are very happy with those pockets. Right? Anarchy has happened in a very small group. As the population and the mass, and this is where psychology comes in, right? You have a bigger group of people, anarchy becomes more and more rare because there is disagreements with a lot of things.
Right, exactly.
Right? But now we all agree, like I showed you an example where we all agree that none of us want to kill anybody.
Yeah, because I think we all agree because again, it's a small group. We are a small group. When the group...
Exactly. Somebody will say, yeah, kill them. Kill those like religious groups, right? Like all of that happens so much, right? But given if at some point in time, if we can provide the same level of decentralization of power, right? Being one of the biggest things, if we can provide the same amount of knowledge, opportunity to everybody, then this would not happen. Yes, you can go ahead and call that utopian, but that is how we eventually want it to be. Like that's what we should strive for. That's what I think I mean when I say like anarchy is the end goal.
Okay.
End goal for the humankind. Yes. Okay.
For the humankind, yeah. Today we're not there.
Right.
Yeah, but eventually.
The other is why not minimal governance? I know if the government puts their nose in a lot of things, then it's a problem. But I don't think minimal government governance will be a problem. So why not that? Why completely?
I don't
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with minimal governance and all of these things. I do have a problem with minimal governments. I don't have a problem with them putting their nose anywhere. Right?
Mhm.
What I have a problem with is power. So with power comes oppression, bro. Right? And any form of government is a sign of power. Right? When you say governance, right? Governance can be anything. Even in anarchism, there is governance. Right? You're all agreeing to like not do this. That is governance. Right? The only problem with that is that as the groups increase, this governance becomes more of like what the majority says. And if that happens, you have oppression. You are oppressing a minority group now, suddenly.
Which is why I think it's
now again, nobody wants to oppress anybody. I think again, I don't think
majority.
I think everybody will say I am a victim. Yeah, everybody will say I'm a victim. I've been oppressed. Nobody is saying yes, I am the oppressor and I owe up for doing this shit. That is the problem. If we could just agree that like I'm a Brahmin, I somehow play a role in this. I'm a male, I somehow play a role in patriarchy, right? If I could agree with this, it would solve a lot of problems, you know?
True.